everyone, it's Elin. It's been a long time. I've cut my hair in the meantime, just today actually. Well, my mom cut it for me. But here I am with a new video, so let's get started. So if you've read the title and clicked on this video, you already know that I will talk about the movies I saw in the first 6 months of 2020. So a bit in the same style as my book videos. I will link the latest one somewhere here. And well, now it's about movies. But of course, in the first 6 months of this year, I've watched a lot of movies. 49 in total, to be exact. So I won't cover them all today. I will cover 25 now, and then I will make a second part sometime soon. And then at the end of the year, the last 6 months. But that's for then. So the first movie I saw this year was The Hate You Give. And I saw it in the airplane on my way back from Thailand, not knowing what was ahead of us. So if you want some travel virtually, I will link my latest Thailand video here, because I'm also gonna watch those back, because yeah, I miss it. But that's a bit off topic already. So the movie The Hate You Give, I really liked it. It's not a happy rom-com movie, but it's really well done. It talks about a black teenage girl, I don't remember in which American city, but one of her childhood friends gets shot by the police, and then I don't have COVID, at least I hope. But after this happened, this of course had a really big impact on her, so it kind of follows this story and just what it's like to grow up as a black person, especially black girl in America. So it's really interesting. Then I watched 2 other movies in the airplane, Ode to Joy and first I saw The Sun Is Also a Star and then Ode to Joy, and I don't remember what neither of them is about, so I will look it up on my phone, on Ecosia of course, because you can be ecological even by just browsing on the internet, so install Ecosia. So first, The Sun Is Also a Star. I really have no clue what it's about. Oh yeah, now I remember. It's a hopeless romantic ambivalent about his future in medical school, falls for a hard-luck young woman who doesn't believe in love. So this was a nice movie. Here you can see hope you can see it. Like the main characters are Asian and African American. So I already liked that, and it was a nice movie. I will try to show you a picture. Yeah, here they are. So yeah, it was just a nice movie. That's what I remember now that I see what it was, but like nothing wow. And then Ode to Joy. Oh no, they say it's like a symphony of Beethoven. I have to look movie. Maybe. Oh, it's a romantic comedy. Oh, now I remember. So Charlie has a neurological disorder where strong emotions, especially joy, make him faint. He lives with his brother. Working as a librarian gives him a quiet environment, but then Francesca enters the library and his life. So yeah, he has like a weird illness, so strong emotions, like he falls, he faints. So it was interesting because I had no clue this existed. And for the rest, it was just a romantic comedy, so good to watch on the plane. The next movie I watched was 1917, and this I watched in the cinema, and it was a really good movie. I mean, like, it got a lot of success and prizes, and like it was in the cinema for a long time, so I guess a lot of you have seen it yourselves or seen the posters. So it's obviously about war, but like the great thing about this movie is that everything is filmed in one sequence. Like the camera never goes out and they are suddenly in a different place. It always follows them. So the whole movie is like in one go. And I didn't knew that when entering the movie, like when first seeing the movie. So like after a while I was like, weird, it never stops. And then it just continued and continued and continued until the end. So it was really cool to see, and especially afterwards to think about, like, if one little thing goes wrong, you have to do everything again, because yeah, if someone fails his word or sneezes or laughs or I don't know, it suddenly starts to rain or whatever, if anything goes wrong, they had to do everything again. So this really was already just for this, it was an excellent movie, but also the story, the actors, everything was really good. Then I went another time to the cinema, but this time to see something maybe a little less of cinematographic value. Frozen 2, and I went there with some friends when we still could see friends and go to the cinema without masks, etc. Very weird to think about it now. But I hadn't even seen the first one. I still haven't actually, but I of course knew the story and the songs, and my friends luckily had seen it, so they always kept me updated on why those characters were mean to each other, or, well, I don't think they were, but like, you understand what I mean. They were just explaining stuff to me, and the song, of course, Into the Unknown. Yeah, you get what I mean. It stuck by me, that song, and for some weeks I was singing it the whole time. Then I watched Les Poupées Russes, and this is the second movie in a series, and I don't remember how the first one is called, so I'm gonna look it up. But it's about a guy that goes to, I don't remember where it was, in Spain somewhere, I think Madrid, on an Erasmus, so all the people he meets there. But that was the first movie, and then this, Les Poupées Russes, is I think 20 or maybe 15 years later, so you see all the characters again. It's really nice. And there is also a third one, which is another time 10 or 20 years later, but that one I haven't seen it yet. It's 10 years later, and this was a nice movie also because I had seen the first one, so you know the characters and you see them grow old and they do different things than what you expected and so on. So it was nice, and I really want to see the third one. Then I saw Tous soleils, and this I don't remember what it was. So, okay, I've looked it up and now I remember. It's because it has a French title, but the main actors are Italian, so I know them from Italian movies, and they also speak in Italian between each other, so yeah, that's why I didn't make the connection immediately. But it talks about Alessandro teaches musicology at the University of Strasbourg. He is also a volunteer reader in hospitals. He shares his apartment with his daughter, 15-year-old Irina, and his anarchist brother, Luigi. So that's the main plot, and then of course a lot of things happen, and this was a nice movie, especially because we know the main actor, Stefano Accorsi, and it was nice to hear him also speak a lot of French because he speaks well, and to see him in a different context, you know. This is a nice movie. Then I went to the cinema again to see Les Traducteurs, the Translators, and this was such a good movie. Wow, like I thought about it afterwards for so many times because, yeah, really a super good movie. This is like, if you haven't seen it, go watch it. I cannot yeah, I can just say it's about, like, there was a huge success book, I think, and then there is the second part that has been written, and translators from all the main publishing countries get together and they are gonna translate the book. So the book and its translations will simultaneously be brought out to make more money, etc. But yeah, they have to stay in a bunker so that nothing of the pages leaks to the press before. So of course it's a bit a weird environment, and then you just have to watch it. Really good movie. Then I went to the cinema again to see Weathering with You, and this is a Japanese, I hope it's Japanese, I don't know, but Asian. I didn't want to generalize. I will look it up now because I don't, yeah, I think it's Japanese, I'm almost sure, but I will look it up. But remember, it was like a, I don't know if you say cartoon, but drawn. It wasn't with real actors, and it was nicely made, the story, and also it was well drawn, the music was nice, so yeah. Okay, so I looked it up and I was right, it's Japanese, and the plot is a high school boy who has run away to Tokyo befriends a girl who appears to be able to manipulate the weather. So it's a bit of science fiction, not really, but it's really poetic movie. It was nice. Then I watched 4045, but it's a Flemish, yeah, it's a Flemish musical, 4045. And so this was the filming of one of the performances of the musical, and yeah, it was a really good musical. I have a friend who is a fanatic of musicals and World War II, so like this combination makes it her favorite movie ever. So she always quoted it and talked about it, so I was like, okay, let's watch it then. And I wasn't disappointed. It was a good performance and also interesting story. So of course about the Second World War, and yeah. Then I watched the movie Not Another Teen Movie. So this is like a really, and this movie is really an exaggeration, and like all the stereotypes from teenage movies come in, but like times 20,000. So it's super exaggerated, but that's what makes it funny. So I don't remember the exact plot because it's probably like, oh, a girl, she wears glasses, so she's ugly. Then she has to do a project with someone in her class. Her glasses fall off, or like the sister of the boy whom she does the project with does a makeover, and suddenly she's the hottest chick in school. And yeah, so it was really, you have to be in the mood for a silly, exaggerated movie, but it was fun. It's a bit like the scary movies, like that is an exaggeration of horror movies. Well, this is the same thing, but for, yeah, teenage rom-com stuff. So if you like that, it's a nice movie. Then I watched the movie Call Me By Your Name again, I think for the third or fourth time, because I love it so much. And yeah, if you haven't seen Call Me By Your Name by now, like, what are you doing? Where are you living? Like, everything about this movie is perfect. Like the actors, the music, the ambiance. They are like in a beautiful place in Italy. They eat fruit, they read, they play music. It's like, oh, I just want to go into that movie and be with them. But for the few people that may have not seen this movie, or may even never have heard of this movie, it's a gay love story, and apart from that, like adolescence, but a really poetic movie and very well acted and done. So go watch it and be thankful later. Then I watched the movie Love Actually, and I didn't know this was a Christmas classic until I saw it and my stepmom told me. But it's a British movie and it's all kinds of different love stories, but yeah, of course they have some connection because they're all in London or something. Yeah, they're all British people. Like, I don't remember exactly, but you have like, oh, one at work, the secretary is in love with another co-worker, but she doesn't dare to say it. Then there is like, oh, the Prime Minister of England falls in love with someone from his staff, and all kinds of things. Or like a writer falls in love with his Portuguese maid. Like, just yeah, a bit just love stories. And it was like, time passed by, it was nice to watch, but then later I listened to a podcast analyzing it and I was like, there's actually so much wrong with that movie, because especially all the women in the movie, because the men, they just have jobs and everything, well, the women also, but like, it's less part of their life. Like, the most important thing for the women is having a relationship, and the man they're in love with. And so after listening to that podcast, I was annoyed with this movie. And yeah, but apparently it's a classic, so enjoy if you want to, of course, but keep in mind that it isn't reality, but it's like that with all rom-coms, so yeah. Then I watched the sequel of To All the Boys I've Loved Before, which falls perfectly into the category of teenage rom-com / drama, but happy movie. And this was called To All the Boys, P.S. I Still Love You. And a new boy enters the game. Oh my god, after the 3 we've seen already, another one. And yeah, this, I like the first one, I was just, oh, okay, it's, you know, to pass time. And then I was like, oh, the sequel came out. I'm kind of obliged to watch now because I still want to know what happens, even though it's not really my thing. So I did, and it wasn't really my thing, but I'm still happy to know with which boy she ends up with at the end. And I won't spoil anything, of course, because you definitely don't want to miss this marvelous piece of art. But I didn't expect it. Ta-da. Then I went once again to the cinema with my brother to watch Parasite, and I don't know from which country this movie is, so I will look it up. I think Korea. It's a Korean movie and it comes from Korea. But what I can say about it, which I'm sure of, is my love for this movie. It was so well done. This is also a movie I've thought a lot of afterward, and when my brother and I came out of that room in the cinema, we were transformed. We were literally feeling in our chairs. We were like, oh, taking everything in. This is also a must-watch for me, and this is a Korean movie. I was right once again, from South Korea. And fun fact about this movie is, well, first, it's dramatic. Like, if you don't like drama, you don't have to, it's not for you. But oh, very good movie. You must see it. And what is funny is that at a certain point there is a song, an Italian song by Gianni Morandi, which is called In Ginocchio da Te. So it was so weird when we heard it. At first we were like, is it coming from another room or something? Because it had, we know that song since childhood, and it was so random in the movie. Like, it's a song from, I don't know, maybe the 50s, 60s in Italy, and like, it had nothing to do with the story, the place, the characters. So that was really weird for us, but also kind of funny because we were singing along. And yeah, it's just a really good movie. I want to see it again now that I talk about it, so I will. I don't know if the DVD is out yet, but I will look it up. The next movie I saw is Memento. Well, it's an American movie, so I shouldn't say it with an Italian accent. Memento. No, that's British. Memento. Well, that was the American accent. So this was also a really, really, really good movie. Yeah, like the interesting parts I cannot tell, like the interesting stuff I cannot tell without spoiling, but that's what makes this annoying. But it's a really good movie, so take my word for it, go watch it. Apparently it's also like a classic. It's one of the few movies my dad wanted to see for a second time, so that means a lot, because usually he says, yeah, he doesn't want to waste time re-watching or rereading stuff, so he only does that when it's really, really good, and I agree with him, so go watch it. The only thing because I still want to say a little bit more than just go watch it, because this you already know since the beginning, and that it's about a guy who has kind of amnesia, so he doesn't remember stuff. Well, that's the definition of amnesia, thanks Elin, but you get what I mean, eh? And the really important stuff he doesn't want to forget, he lets it be tattooed on his body to not forget it. So that's like an interesting starting point. And his wife just died. Well, he thinks she got killed, so he tries to look for the murderer. That's the starting point, and then you will see. Watch it. The next movie I saw is Domino, and this was also like a filming of a musical performance. I watched it with the same musical addict friend of mine, and this was by a musical group in which she also performs. So that made it nice, because I've seen some of her shows, of course, so I recognized some people. So sorry for the interruption, I didn't have place anymore on my memory card, and I noticed there were so many old videos I could have just deleted after I've put them on YouTube, but I didn't. So note to self, just delete the stuff you don't need anymore, so we prevent this in the future. Thanks for your understanding. So I was talking about Domino, the musical. So what I just said, well, it has been 10 minutes, so I don't really remember what I said anymore. But it was nice to see it. If you don't know the people in there, don't know the songs, I don't think it's that interesting, but yeah. Then I went to the cinema again, Little Women, to see Little Women, also with Timothée Chalamet, just like in Call Me By Your Name, and Keira Knightley, and the other ones I don't remember. Well, I remember their faces but not their names. So it was interesting to see how they lived at that time. I think everyone knows the story of Little Women. I didn't know it before seeing the movie, so I was a bit annoyed, like, oh, they just, for example, the writer, she has to pretend like her character has to either marry or die at the end. Like, I was so frustrated when seeing all those injustices, but it was interesting to see how they lived at the time, and I think the decor and the costumes, etc. were very well done. So if you know the story, go for it, and also if you don't know it, be aware, go into the mentality of that time, and you will tolerate the injustices. Then I watched Slumdog Millionaire. I had already seen it some years ago, but I wanted to see it again, so I did, and this is a really nice movie. It also has a bit of dramatic scenes, etc., but in general it's still quite a happy movie. And this is about a guy that in India. This happens in India. I don't know if I said that already, but it's about a guy, and it also shows his childhood, etc. But he participates in a quiz, and if you get the answer correctly, you get more money, and then at a certain point you can decide to continue or to quit. And if you quit, you just get all the money you received until then. But if you continue, you can win more money and in the end become a millionaire, hence the name Slumdog Millionaire. But if you don't answer it correctly, you lose everything. But he continues, and yeah, it shows the story behind him knowing the answers to the questions, and it's really well done and interesting. So that's also a must watch for me. Then I watched a Hitchcock movie, I Confess. So in black and white again. It had been a very long time since I'd seen black and white movies, but it was a nice movie. It's about a priest, and his role is played by Montgomery Kress, if I'm not wrong. So I can look it up to be sure. Yeah, not Montgomery Kress, Montgomery Clift it is, but I knew it. And yeah, so he is a priest, and someday someone confesses something to him. I don't say anything because otherwise it's spoiler alert. But as a priest, he cannot tell what people confess to him, but that puts him into a difficult position. So then the story goes, and it's really interesting what happens, but you have to see it because I cannot spoil it for you. But if you don't mind seeing black and white things, go watch it. Then I watched Love, Simon, and this is also a bit of a typical teenage romantic thing, but the only difference is that they're gay instead of a hetero couple. But the rest is also annoying because he's like, yeah, I'm just a normal boy in a normal neighborhood with a normal family. He has like the most perfect house and parents in the world, but for him everything is just average, and then he falls in love and blah blah blah. So it's entertaining, and at least it's not hetero, but yeah, still they can still level up their game, if you know what I mean. But it was nice. Then I watched the movie The Terminal with, what's his name? Tom Hanks. And I had heard a lot, no, not heard a lot, but like I had it in my mind for a while because we had it for some time, but we didn't watch it. So it's about a guy, and the worst thing is this is based on a real story. So it's a guy that goes to America as a tourist, and then like his country has a civil war or something, so it's not a country anymore. So legally he cannot go back to his country because there is no country anymore. But since his passport is invalid because the country doesn't exist anymore, he cannot even go out. Like, he's at the airport in New York, but he cannot go out in New York, so he has to stay in the airport, and he cannot even go to the whole of the airport. He has to stay in the same terminal, and in the end, I don't remember how long he stayed there, but like more than 10 years. So yeah, it's horrible, poor guy. So then, yeah, he kind of, he lives his life there, he makes his house, he becomes friends with the cleaning staff, etc. So it was a really weird movie, like the story was just really weird, but it's based on a real story, so that makes it really mind-blowing, and yeah, you empathize a lot with the character, because he still stays positive and like tries to make the most out of it, but it's so sad, and also yeah, I would be quite angry at all the legal services, like just let me out. But yeah, so it's a nice movie to watch. Then I watched the movie Annie Hall, and I don't remember the movie maker. The movie maker? Yeah, like I don't remember how you say it. But it's the story, like someone tells his love story, and it's a well done movie. Oh, it's by Woody Allen. That's it. And yeah, it's a love story, but also a lot of different, more like a life story, but focused on love story. And yeah, it was really well done and very funny. It was, yeah, quite absurd sometimes, but it was a really good movie. We're almost done, 2 more to go. Then I watched the movie Compagni di scuola, and this is a movie by Carlo Verdone, a really famous comic filmmaker and actor in Italy, because he always plays a big role in his movies. And this is Compagni di scuola, means schoolmates. So it's about a reunion from a school class after, I don't know, 20-30 years. So a lot of stuff happens, of course, because everybody tells their lives to each other, and like, oh, maybe like old people that were in love with each other but didn't tell them, now they did. And yeah, it's really interesting to have all these stories, and it's also just a really funny movie. So it's really nice. I had already seen it, and I will see it more because I really love it. And then I watched Perfetti, Sconosciuti, and this is also one of my all-time favorite Italian movies. And it's about friends that have a dinner, and as a kind of game, they decide to like put their phone on loud, and whenever a message comes in or somebody calls, etc., everybody can read and listen to what happens. So yeah, a lot of unexpected stuff comes up, and it really makes them discover that your phone can hold many secrets, even from your partner, or yeah. So I really love that idea, and yeah, it's just a really good movie. And I think they also made a version in French now. So, but it's a really good movie. That's really one of my all-time favorites, so go see it. And this was it. Those were the first 25 movies I saw in the year of 2020. The very weird year of 2020, but yeah, we will get through this. I hope you're all doing well with school and work, etc., starting again a bit. And let me know which movies from this list you watched already, what you thought of them, which ones you want to watch now that I've talked so long about them, or just your movie recommendations, your all-time favorites. Leave them down below so we can help each other with our cultural knowledge, etc. So yeah, please leave a comment and a like if you liked the video. So thanks for watching, and see you soon.